Today's show is brought to you by 3C. Comprehensive Cannabis Consulting helps clients design, build, and optimize their cannabis business from initial assessment and planning through operationalization and ongoing management. To learn more about how their services are tailored to meet the unique goals and objectives of each of their clients, go to 3ccannabis.com. And for a limited time, 3C is giving all MJBulls listeners an additional 10% off their fees just for mentioning that you heard it on the show. Go to 3ccannabis.com.
Yeah, so the I-Fel is really a pipe, and the pods that go in the I-Fel, think of it as a K-cup, but instead of coffee in the pod, it has cannabis or hemp.
From Bumming It Media, it's the MJBulls Podcast, a show about raising cannabis capital. I'm Dan Humiston, and on today's show, how this company has created a consistent, user-friendly way to smoke cannabis. Today on our Raising Cannabis Capital series, we're joined by Tony Bautista, the CEO of Ganiyan. Tony, thanks for being on the MJBulls Podcast.
Happy to be here.
Tony's come up with, in my opinion, one of the coolest yet simplest cannabis products that I've seen really in a long, long time. Before we dive into that, though, before we get into the specifics of your product, Tony, I want to take a minute to talk about smoking cannabis. Because with all the advancements in technology and all the different ways to use cannabis, it seems like it just keeps coming back to smoking it. Why is that?
Yeah, that's a really good question. When I got involved in cannabis a few years ago, I really wasn't a consumer. So I decided to purchase everything I could find. And so I live here in California. So at the time, in late 2016, there were all these dispensaries that were delivering to my home. So I was a kid in a candy store, and I bought everything, tried everything from edibles, different experience. You know, you eat it, it tastes like candy, tastes like a cookie, but it takes a while to take effect. Tinctures, different experience there. It actually is pretty rapid since it's sublingual. And then you have flower. And with everything that I experimented with, my preferred form was flower. And I think the reason why that is, so I was talking to someone who was very experienced in this space, and he said to me, you need to go research Chinese medicine. I said, why is that? He said, because one of the elements of the 5 elements in Chinese medicine is smoke. I said, really? He goes, yeah, why don't you go research that? So I did a little bit of research in that. And what I have found, this is personally now, and from talking to quite a few people that are quite experienced in cannabis, their preferred method is smoking. It's because of the taste, the smell, and just the experience. It's the authentic form of consumption.
Let's talk about your product, because you have taken the ancient art of smoking cannabis and you've made it so much more convenient. He created a product which is called the I-Fel, because it kind of looks like the Eiffel Tower almost, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I'm going to let you jump in. Tell everybody how the I-Fel works, what it is.
Yeah, so the I-Fel is really a pipe, and the pods that go in the I-Fel, think of it as a K-cup, but instead of coffee in the pod, it has cannabis or hemp. If you take a look at just smoking cannabis, been smoked for thousands of years, the method hasn't changed. It's tedious, it's messy, it's inconvenient, it's wasteful. With today's technologies, I thought, there's got to be a better way to consume this. I think the biggest challenge is, how do you know how much you're taking in?
I'm going to jump in here for a second, or what the effect is going to be. I think a lot of people, especially people new to cannabis, they know the desired effect, but they're not sure what products to use to get to that desired effect. So go ahead.
You're absolutely correct. So I think one of the most exciting things about what we're doing here at Ganiyan is, for those people that say haven't partaked in cannabis in a while, we're going to actually be launching a couple different product lines. So our first product line, it will be our high CBD hemp flower product line. What that product line is going to contain will be pods that contain high CBD hemp flower. The THC is very low. You can't get high off of this, but there will be an effect.
Mm-hmm.
And the effect is calm or relaxing. So if somebody says, you know what, I do want to check this out because I've read that cannabis is a lot healthier for you than alcohol, they can buy my CBD pods. And they could buy one called Calm or another one called Relax Relief. And they can smoke one of these pods. And I assure you, they will get a body high. And they will be calm and relaxed and chill. And they will not be high.
Let's just say I want to come home, watch some TV, just chill out. That would be like a product that I would take?
Yeah, you could use that CBD on the cannabis side of the house, high levels of CBD, like 20-to-1 ratio tinctures, those are used for things like relaxing and calming effects. And so our hemp product line will address that. But we're also going to have a THC line. So if you're looking for a effect of you want to use it during the day, but you're a creative person, let's say you're a designer, we will have pods that will allow you to consume our pods during the day and help boost that creativeness that you want in the office.
I want to take a minute to tell everyone about an exciting free opportunity that one of our former guests, Good Harvest Company, is offering retail operators and cannabis brand managers in the adult use market. Good Harvest Company is preparing to launch their platform, which uses customers' buying and shopping behaviors to help brands effectively reach their customers. And for a limited time, Good Harvest Company will offer participating companies free access to their data in return for their feedback. To learn more, go to goodharvest.co. So let me sort of explain or see if I can describe the I-Fel to our listeners. It's similar to a pipe, and on one end is a spot where this little pod goes in, and the pod everything is contained within the pod. The flower's already in there.
That's right.
No one touches this. It's no mess, no muss, nothing. And then at the very end is a place for you to put a lighter to it, I guess.
Right. We're going to provide a hemp wick in our pods. Mm-hmm. And so we recommend that you use a hemp wick because that removes the butane. And so you'll light the hemp wick, and that hemp wick actually burns at a lower temperature. And so when you light the pod, you'll use a hemp wick. Like I said, it's about a 10 milligram consumption for each pod. So that is the dosing that's quite popular with tinctures and edibles and so on.
Yeah, it's a controlled dose. The desired effect will be achieved because you'll know what you're going to get at the onset.
Yeah, it's predictable every time.
It's like Keurig coffee. You put the pod in there and you get exactly what you ordered. No gambling. There's no risk.
That's correct. That's correct. That's actually where the concept came from. Sitting in my mother's living room over the holidays, I looked into her kitchen and I saw a Keurig machine. And, I just jumped up and yelled, "That's it." And my mother's in our office and she yells back, "Anthony, what's it?" I said, "I don't know yet." I said, "I think, but this is it." And so with then my research and all of my testing of cannabis products, I realized that today's cannabis is so much more potent than it was 30 years ago. It has to get chunked down. More importantly, when you're smoking cannabis, you really need to know how much you're taking in. One of our key marketing elements of our product is consistent and predictable every time.
Yeah, I like that. I like your quote. It's pristine cannabis, one pod at a time. I love that.
Yeah.
Hey, so let's
the reason for that is because we don't touch it.
Right. Let's talk about how you're going to get this to the next level, because
yeah, sure.
You created the product, everything's in place, and now the goal is to get this out to the masses so everyone has an opportunity to use it. Clearly, you're going to need to raise some funds. So what's the plan right now?
In terms of fundraising?
Yeah.
Yeah, so what we're targeting right now is we plan to launch our website this quarter. What we're going to be launching is our first product line, which will be our high CBD hemp flower product line. We're going to be shipping that product direct to consumers throughout the U.S. So we're going to be raising $1 million in seed, and we'll be using a convertible note. Discount rate is 10%. Our valuation cap is $5.5 million. Interest rate is 6% with a maturity of 4 years.
Okay. And if one of our listeners is interested, what would be the best way for them to proceed?
I would suggest sending me an email at tony@ganiyan.com.
Yeah. So our listeners, if somebody wants more information about this or something that might fit nicely within their portfolio, follow up with Tony. We've been speaking with Tony Bautista, and he's the CEO of, let me get this right, Ganiyan.
Outstanding.
And all of Ganiyan's information will be on the MJBulls website. Tony, thanks for sharing the news with us today. This is really, really, like I said at the beginning of the show, I love this product. I think you're on to something. Can't wait to see this thing roll out. Will you be back on our show to let us know as things are going?
Absolutely. I'd love to be back once our product is launched and we're in the marketplace. Now, we're going to be launching our THC product line in Q2. So I think it would be a good time maybe to give your listeners an update on us once we're actually in the market.
Another MJBulls success story. I can feel it coming. Thanks again, Tony.
Yeah, thank you.
Good luck. Let me take a second to thank Trevitt Hill for sponsoring today's show. Cannabis investors expect big returns from the companies that they invest in. Unfortunately, not all cannabis investments succeed. Trevitt Hill's management team works with investors to help turn around, or in some cases purchase, their underperforming portfolio companies. To learn more, go to trevitthill.com. Thanks for listening to the MJBulls podcast. To learn more about today's guest or to become a guest, visit our website at MJBulls.com. Today's show was produced by Bumminit Media, with original music composed by Jamie Humiston. I'm Dan Humiston, and you've been listening to the MJBulls podcast.